Hello YouTube, so recently there's been a lot of issues, debates, arguments and general unpleasantness happening in the YouTube community, with many of the subscribers being drawn into the kerfuffle, or more likely jumping right into the fray themselves on the side of one party or another. Today in this video I want to discuss why this is the case, and why I think it shouldn't be happening at all. First off, we have Twitter. Now the way I have discovered many of these arguments, debates and revelations, if you will, is through Twitter. Whether it's through one YouTuber tweeting something or one of my friends retweeting someone else, I have discovered these arguments. Now if you've been on Twitter for any length of time like I have, you'll realise that it's very difficult to put across a succinct argument in 140 characters. What you'll usually have is a massive debate going over numerous tweets between numerous people, and it'll usually get very confusing and very annoying until the two parties move to a different platform that's one, more private, and two, you can put more characters across. Now, the reason I think many subscribers and followers get drawn into this argument is because Twitter is a public forum. And we may feel the need, and we may feel the forum is open for us to put across our ideas and try to solve the issues of these YouTubers or these parties ourselves so they don't fight anymore and we feel okay and secure in who we watch. Now, I think the main problem here is that you can never get the full information. We never have the full story. You can't get the full story in 140 characters, and we will never know the true story unless the two parties choose to post about it, completely telling us everything that has happened, clearly, succinctly, and with no other input from anybody else. Now, since that rarely happens, you'll get a lot of followers and a lot of subscribers jumping into the debate, believing they know the full story, believing they have the answer to solve this, when in actual fact, they don't. And this leads to rumours being spread around. This leads to people believing one thing when another thing may have happened completely. So what's the way to stop this? Firstly, I think you got to keep your arguments off Twitter. Even though it is an easier way to discuss with people who may not necessarily be your friends, it's better to keep the issues private and away from the eyes of the subscribers who are more likely to jump in and start debating. Now the second problem, which I think is very much linked to the first problem, is subscribers idolizing YouTubers and not seeing them as real people. And this has been extremely emphasized to me in things that I heard going on at VidCon. Apparently there were many people waiting outside different YouTubers' doors in their hotels in the hope of meeting them outside the environment of VidCon. Now, besides the fact that this is a severe violation of privacy and personal space, it showed me a bigger issue on YouTube. That many of the subscribers idolize YouTubers. They see them as more than people. They see them as above fault, above debate, and that YouTube is one big happy family. And then when these YouTubers fall in front of their eyes, or they have debates over Twitter, or even through videos, these subscribers who idolize their heroes feel the need to jump in and fix it, not realizing that these people are people. People have disagreements. People have arguments. People fall further than we could imagine that they could fall. And I think we have to remember that. And in many cases, step back and let the two parties or the two people involved, or maybe more, sort it out for themselves. And I think this comes to the last issue. The last issue being that people on the internet only show you as much as they want to show you. Sure, there may be mistakes sometimes, and sure, people may mess up, but for the most part, YouTubers are pretty careful in what they put out there, whether it's in their videos, their Tumblr posts, or on Twitter, even Facebook. They're usually quite careful about what goes into the sphere. And we've got to remember that, like before, we will never see the full story. We never know the full persona of someone. Maybe someone appears happy and enjoyable on the camera, but in actual fact, they may be suffering from depression. And going to their room and invading their privacy is the worst possible thing that could happen to them. And we have to remember that we don't see everything. We don't know everything. And that even though these people may appear perfect to our eyes, they're humans, like us. They have their problems, like us. And they make mistakes, like us. And I think we need to remember that. And in many of these cases where debates, issues and arguments are going on, we need to step back. We need to allow them to debate, to have their privacy, to work it out for themselves, and to allow them to have the privacy that we all have. And I think that's something very important to remember. You'll see me next week. Have an awesome week. Remember that people on YouTube are people. And don't forget to be awesome.